again, this is always an interesting press conference. I've never yet to hear a head coach stand up and say, you know what, we're really disappointed in our signing class. So the standard, I'll give you the standard mark. Very excited about this signing class, as we are. We made history, and we've signed the highest ranked non-Power 5 recruiting class in the history of college football, and that should be commended. Our staff and support staff, our coaches, everybody who has a hand in recruiting should be commended for that. That is something that we don't take very lightly, because we do know that we're a lot better players when we've got good, or we're a lot better coaches when we've got good players. And I'd like to, I think a really good coach can make an average player good, a good player great, a great player elite, and an elite player a champion. But I don't think from Vince Lombardi to Bill Walsh to Bill Belichick that they can make average players elite. And so we gotta recruit really good players, and we think we did that. We addressed quite a few needs. Again, because of the way the numbers were when we got here last January, it left us in a bit of a precarious situation for this signing class, and that being the NCAA only gives us 25 initial counters, and yet when we walked in the door in January of last year, we had 7 senior offensive linemen and 7 senior defensive backs. So to have 14 seniors in just 2 different positions, that was tough. Obviously, you're not going to go sign 7 or 8 in one position in 1 year. And so through attrition and graduation, we'll probably go into this season with about 76 players on scholarship. That's a little bit scary. As you know, the NCAA gives you 85. And so we'll probably be about 9 to 10 scholarship players short of every team that we play against this year. And so I wish there was something I could do about it. I wish we could petition the NCAA to sign a few more to fill some of these voids that were left, but we can't. It's not allowed. And some of these guys that we signed today are going to have to play for us early. Couple quick stats. We had, again, I think we signed 19 high school players, 17 high school players, and 6 transfers, 3 junior college transfers, and 3 four-year transfers. Of the 17 high school players that we signed, I believe all but 1 are from the state of Texas, with the other being just across the state line in Shreveport, Louisiana. We signed a player at every position other than special teams, kicker, punter, or deep snapper. We're hoping to get a couple walk-on candidates at those positions that can earn a scholarship. So again, do recruiting rankings matter? In my opinion, if you're going to keep score at something, we're going to try to win the damn thing. And so they keep score on these things, so we're going to try to be the best that we can be at it. And we don't look at stars. I can promise you. We look at players that have a tremendous amount of character, have a tremendous competitive drive, that are physically and mentally tough, and then we go from there. And what we've found is that our target audience has become a bit broader because of the vision that we've been able to share and the relationships that we've been able to build with not only the players but the high school coaches. And one of the very unique things, and the thing maybe I'm most proud of this class, is of all the high school players that signed with us today, all but 1 of them committed before we had ever played a football game as a staff. And so why did they do that? And the answer is, again, relationships, because they had tremendous relationships with their recruiting coaches and position coaches, the head coach, and their coaches in high school knew what kind of men we were that they were sending their players to, and they committed. and then we go on to win the amount of games that we did. We won championships and a New Year's Six bowl game, and I think what that was able to do then was to solidify our position a little bit when the poachers came calling. I think I looked up right before I came down here for the press conference, and of the 8 players that we signed that had SEC offers, we signed 7 of them. We lost 1. We were 7-1 against the SEC, and so that's pretty good. That's a pretty good day's work because of the relationships that we built, and these kids then were able to, what was once a vision that they were buying into became a reality, and they saw the potential of this program and this great university in what, in my opinion, is the greatest city in America. So very pleased, very happy. Wish we could have signed more. There's a lot of really good players that wanted to come to the University of Houston, and this year we could have used them. But the NCAA only gives you 25, and obviously we got to live by those rules. So with that, we will open it up for some questions.
Tom, instead of just asking you piecemeal, just do it all at once. Ed Oliver was asked what appealed to him about Houston, and he said, at first nothing, then you came in and changed the game. Dixie Wooten said it was like you stole his heart on the first date. And Courtney Lark said, Houston's a place to be. We're going to change the city. What do you think of those things across 3 of your top recruits?
Really proud, a bit emotional. As you know, Mark, covering us for as long as you have, this program is, we do things very differently than most places in America, and we take a lot of pride in that. And we just got done with a lunch with some of our top donors, and Todd Orlando said something, and again, he never shared it with me, and it stuck, and I'll steal it from him. He said that every single one of these commits, they've been to a ton of our practices, they've been to a ton of our meetings, and they still decided to come here. And so to me, that says that you know, that these kids embrace what is necessary to win championships and how extremely difficult it is. And I'm really, really proud to hear you say those things, because that's why we do what we do. I mean, we want to, these relationships, I mean, I've known Kyle Allen since he was a sophomore in high school. And so these relationships, you start when they're 10th graders, you know. Kyle Allen wasn't shaving when I first met him, and next thing you know, he's the #1 quarterback in the country coming out of high school, and can go anywhere he wants, and he chose the University of Houston. So I think that's what separates us, probably, is the genuineness, and is that a real word? Yeah, genuineness and real heartfelt love that these kids feel, not just from us to them, but that they see from us to our own players every single day, and that's what we're all about. It's never getting to you, by the way. It's going to be worked over there for a while.
Tom, just your thoughts on how everybody embraced this recruiting class from the city. With JJ, you had Keuchel involved, you had rappers, Paul Wall. I mean, it just seemed like everybody got on board for this class.
Yeah, Paul Wall is my dude, man. It's my guy. But I think that it's an indication of the culture that we're trying to create around here. We're the hometown college football team of the 4th biggest city in America, and I think we've done a really good job. Our coaches, our players, our support staff, everybody has done a really good job of bringing the city in to us and making them believers. And J.J. Watt considers himself a Houstonian. So guess what? If you're a Houstonian that has the kind of notoriety and voice that he has, what better way to show your support than to film a 30-second video and say congratulations. Same with Dallas Keuchel and Andre Ware and Case Keenum and Slim Thug. I learned something yesterday, that zero is actually spelled Z-R-O. That was kind of cool. So from Paul Wall, and so the list goes on and on, but I think it's just a a snapshot of the fact that the city of Houston now really truly does have a hometown college football team, and we're going to continue to embrace that role, and hopefully they continue to embrace us.
Coach, just how do you feel that you did just inside of Houston recruiting?
Really good. I think we've got recruiters here and I don't know what inside of Houston is, the greater Houston area, I would assume you're referring to. I think we did a fantastic job, and again, we beat a few different schools early, and then we staved off a lot of poachers late that our kids didn't even take any visits. They said thanks, but no thanks. We're good. We're H-Town takeover, baby, and we're staying. And so I feel really good. As with anything, you can always get better, and we'll continue to try to improve. But I think one of the bowl practices, I was actually looking at our starting 22 on offense and defense, and only 2 kids in our starting 22 played high school or came to the University of Houston from a greater Houston area high school, and that was Alex Cooper and Tyler McCluskey. We got Carter Wall via transfer. We got William Jackson via transfer. But to say that we went 13-1 at the University of Houston and finished 8th in the country with really only 2 of our starters coming straight out of high school into the University of Houston from the greater Houston area, it kind of opened my eyes a little bit as to, what can we do when we got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 starters that come to us out of high school from the greater Houston area. I mean, we're excited about where that's headed.
Tom, what's it mean for the program and everything you guys are building to not just get a 5-star recruit in Oliver, but somebody who's local, number one, and locked in with you guys 6 months ago, wouldn't even listen to Ole Miss, and never wavered, and now
Listen to anybody, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Which University of Houston wouldn't have been able to do 5 years ago, 10 years ago?
I don't know what it means. That's probably left for you guys to figure out. But I know for us, we're getting a really good player. That's a really good kid. That's a competitive dude. That his explosiveness and motor. And when I say motor, I mean just continuous effort throughout a football play, throughout the game, is unlike anything I've ever seen. And that includes recruiting at Ohio State. I mean, there's a reason he's a 4th-ranked player, regardless of position, in the entire country in this signing class. And so what does it mean? It means we signed a really good player from a really good high school that's got really good parents, and we expect him to do really well for us. Now what that means on a global level, so to speak, that's for you guys to figure out. But we didn't surprise ourselves on that one, I can tell you that. We might have surprised a lot of people, but the expectations around here, especially in recruiting, are pretty high. And we're very happy, but certainly not surprised.
Obviously, the circumstances this year versus last year are different, but just talk about this experience in going through the recruiting process this year as opposed to what you went through last year.
We had time. It's just, again, facilities are really important. Don't get me wrong. Kids nowadays, they want to know where they're going to spend every day, because let's make no bones about it, this is a full-time job. I read somewhere where a anonymous poll of FBS football players said they spend 42 hours a week in season on their sport, and that's mandatory and non-mandatory things. And so facilities are really, really, really important. The day-to-day facilities. Our stadium's beautiful, it is, but our players are in there 6-7 times a year. So that's why this new indoor practice facility and weight room is so important. That's why getting a football-only training facility with a nice locker room and player lounge, and all of those things are extremely important. But that being said, it's not the most important thing in recruiting. And the most important thing is building relationships. And in order to do that, you got to have time. And last year was a mad dash to the finish line. And it was trying to hold on to what was already committed and realizing, oh my gosh, we still got to go get 10 other guys, and we got 2.5 weeks to do this. And we did an admirable job under those circumstances. But as you can see, give this staff some time to target these recruits and then build those relationships. This staff is pretty good when you give them those circumstances.
Tom, you mentioned the reliance on early recruits, which is early commitments. Right? You mentioned the reliance on early commitments, which is a trend that goes probably to when Mac Brown started doing that at Texas. There's also been a rather large number of late commitments and late switches this year. Given that tendency, how important is it to you to continue that trend to get early commitments, and how difficult will it to be given the nature of teenagers to want to wait until the last minute and get as much attention as they can?
It's always difficult. You know, I joke that, you know, aside from deciding on the woman that they're going to marry, this is probably the most important decision that they'll have to make as men, and they got to make it at 17 years old. And God doesn't make the 17-year-old brain capable of making those kind of rational decisions without a tremendous amount of counsel from people that are wiser and more experienced than them. And so I think if we're on the right kind of kid, that becomes a non-factor. Not to say that the kids that wait are bad kids. I'm not saying that, but I think the kids that have a solid support system at home, and whether it's in the high school or truly at home with their parents, I think those are the kids that you want to target, and you want to target them early, and they usually are capable of making those decisions a little bit earlier and sticking with those decisions too. You know, last time I checked, the word commitment is not synonymous with reservation. It's not synonymous with maybe. Commitment is commitment, and it means something. And to 23 out of the 24 guys that we had committed late here, it meant something, and for that I thank them. I mean, there was a lot of schools that came in and offered our guys scholarships and visits, and none of them even blinked at that opportunity. But I think one thing that maybe gets a little bit lost in why we're able to do that is because of where we are. These kids, I mean, they're on our campus every other day, you know, as juniors, and in the summertime. I mean, they're here, they're around, they're present. They're where other schools, they don't have that luxury. You know, I know I was at Iowa State, for instance, and the very first time a kid would step on campus might be January of his official visit, and you know, that's for us. The official visit was like, yeah, coach, I know, I've seen all this stuff 1,000 times. You know, I mean, they were here. They were present, and I think that's one of the things. I kind of sat back and reflected for a second. Through the month of December and January, I went and saw every single one of our commits, and this is, whatever, by all accounts, the highest ranked non-Power 5 recruiting class in the history of college football, and I got on a plane twice. Let me repeat that. I got on a plane twice, slept in my own bed most every night. That doesn't happen in a lot of places. It just doesn't. I know as the offense coordinator at Ohio State, it was a different plane and a different hotel and a different city and a different rental car every stinking day of that period of time. And to be able to do that around this place is important. And you got me going on a tangent about early commits, but I think our proximity to really, really good players is something that really helps us there.
Tom, kind of following up on that, you mentioned all the Houston recruits you're able to lock in this year, but the idea of building a fence around the city and saying, hey, we own this thing, and maybe eventually it becomes regional and then national, like a top 10, annual top 10 Power 5 program, but locking this thing in to where people know regionally and national, hey, this is our territory now.
What was the question in that? Oh, really important. I don't know how to quantify it, but yeah, to say, we're never going to probably say we own Houston. It's too big. There's too many good players. What we need to do is make sure that, and again, are we going to beat, the Blue Bloods on every kid in the city of Houston ever? No, we're not. What we do is we need to be able to go toe to toe on the select few and win a few of those battles. And then the thing that I think we did a really good job of this year is I think the out-of-state schools that were used to coming in and letting the Blue Bloods kind of have their pick, and then coming in and knowing that there's still plenty of really good football players in the city of Houston, football players that you can go win championships with and at other places and in other conferences. We did a great job of staving those guys off, and I think that's kind of our model moving forward is we're going to go toe to toe with the Blue Bloods every now and again, and just like with Ed, and we're going to win some. But the main piece of the puzzle is keeping the out of state, out of region schools from our backyard, and I think we've certainly set that. We've made that very clear in our actions here in this signing class.
Yeah, Tom, you've used a lot of terminology we're all familiar with, non-Power 5 history and Blue Bloods and so on. I'm wondering if you could describe somehow what it's like to worry about and fend off poachers, as you say.
It's nerve-wracking, for sure. I do know this, though. I'm very honest with the recruits, and you tell them, because the question obviously gets asked. I'm sure one of you had it on your list of questions to ask about, do they ask about how long are you going to be there and this, that, and the other? Every day I get asked that by a recruit, and that just means that the other schools are doing a good job recruiting, and they're saying, go read this article or read that article. And but what I tell them is the truth, and the truth is the way the system is set up now with the College Football Playoff Committee deciding the playoff and the New Year's Six games, plus the highest ranked non-group of 5 team getting into a New Year's Six bowl game. In my opinion, the American Athletic Conference has undoubtedly separated itself from the other non-Power 5 conferences. So barring some miracle season from some other team in some other conference, if you win the American Athletic Conference, you're going to a New Year's Six bowl game. You're going to go to the Rose Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, the Cotton Bowl, the Orange Bowl. I mean, we're talking about some of the grandest, most historic bowl games in all of college football, and you're going to play the best of the best, and you're going to beat the best of the best, quite frankly. And so why do I say that? I say that because the path to those things, to championships, to winning, it's no fun going 7-5. That stinks, in fact. It's really, really not fun. What's really fun is when it feels like the whole city of Houston rushes onto the field and you're kissing a trophy and holding it up and there's confetti falling, and you go to a New Year's Six bowl game and you're playing one of the Blue Bloods and you're beating them by 2 touchdowns in the Peach Bowl. Those things are the really fun things. And so when these Power 5 schools come calling, I mean, what are they going to offer you that we're not? And so you couple that with where the Dr. Couture and our provost and the academia here has completely transformed the academic reputation and nature of our university. Again, why, I would ask you why. Is your path to a New Year's Six bowl game or a national championship is easier there? And a championship? You're going to win a championship there. You're going to compete for a championship there. You're going to be on a stage with tens of thousands of people at your feet, with holding up a trophy and kissing trophies and getting a big ring. That doesn't happen very often. Maybe at Alabama or Ohio State, but last I checked, we didn't go toe to toe with those two schools very much this year.
Tom, last year you sold recruits on your vision and also the potential of the university. Now that you have that, how has that changed the game for you?
Well, I think it's changed. It's just opened doors. The class of 2017 is now, I think Colin Wilder even wrote in his little open letter that he published yesterday that, he had to be kind of almost talked into even just coming on a unofficial visit just to come check us out. That there's no way I'm going to U of H, where now it's opened the doors to these 4- and 5-star recruits that say I'm knocking on the door trying to figure out what the heck's going on down there on Cullen Boulevard, and that's exciting. So the success on the field and the success on signing day has certainly opened a lot of eyes and doors that otherwise might not have been opened.
Tom, you talk about the championships. What piece of hardware got a bigger response from?
The grill.
The grill.
Absolutely, the grill. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, 40-year-old white dude with a diamond-encrusted grill by Paul Wall. So, it was certainly a novelty piece that everybody wanted to see. They wanted